It's Joseph Yusuf here from JohnTheHutDweller channel, and want to address in my next video. I want to address the Tyria. Please remind me if I don't get to it. I know that happens a lot. Continuing on, I decided to name the previous video "Muslims Are Good People" Part 1 because I knew I had to speak more about it. I think that was a good title for it. I might get some flack from some people, but it's just a title. And I do mean it. Some of them, many are. Now, this is the horrible thing. How do I tell these people who I love, who would never understand shift towards Christianity? I guess in my eyes it would be if a Christian would convert to Mormonism. You already have. You know you're going into lie. You know you're lying. There must be some other motive. They see me on the internet. Why is he talking about this? He could never have really been a true Muslim. You know, he was. They're gonna think that I was a snake in their midst, or I think most of them think I'm insane, actually, which may be a good thing. My mind destroyed by drugs. How do I tell them that in the depths of my horrible addiction, I got pulled out by Christ? What am I doing on here? Am I bragging? Am I one of those people like Ergun Canner who claims Islam just to get a pulpit to speak? After 9/11, 10 years, it's become popular to be Muslim or to be a apostate from Islam and say, "Well, I know, you guys don't know," and I'm not what this is, but it probably would be perceived as that. But 300 people who are some of the kindest, gentlest people who stood by me even when I was crazy or on drugs or whatever. Something's had, kind of a rough life for a while, and probably affected a lot of it, and accepted me with open arms. Uh, how do you tell somebody that? How do you when they see me? What is they're gonna? They're not gonna understand. You pray next to somebody for years and years, and they're a good person, and they're not. They truly believe that Christianity is a corrupt thing, and that if most Christians, and I believed this too, even when I was a Christian, I thought, wow, if the Christians find out about Islam, they're all going to convert, because Christianity is nonsense, basically. But there was the love of Christ that broke through, and I thought, wow, this is ridiculous. Trinity, but still, the love of Christ still bombarded and crashed through. But in my mind, because going to God is not an intellectual assent, as every Orthodox knows. That's why we get so frustrated with the Protestants. Um, it was a strange type of fear, and even I was wondering, well, what? It didn't make sense. And that was a fear in me that if these Christians were to read the Quran, they would turn and be Muslim. But it says in the Bible, you shall not be ashamed of the gospel of Christ, or you could go to hell. But there is shame. I mean, I don't think I could look these people in the eye. That's why I don't live in the town that I grew up in. They would never understand it. I'd have to sit down and explain, and after all those words, I still don't think it would be. And there's some points where I actually had to force myself to put on a huge crucifix, stare at the ground, and walk past some of these people because I was so scared. Wait, if you deny Christ before man, he'll deny you in heaven. And I'm like, and even worse than death, these people, what would they? I mean, these people I love, how that they possibly understand. And that's probably one of the biggest fears. That's why I had my face covered for the first many of the videos. It was, yeah, I have scars on my face and I can't stand seeing my face. It's funny how everything is opposite. The scars actually right here. I can feel it and then I see the video. But a lot of it was I didn't want anybody, if they recognized me, it's not the death threat, it's not any of that. If they were just to come up to me, I think I'd probably start crying. Because it totally severed. Can't ever go back. Now, many people have had to pay a much higher price for Christianity. And they're still doing it today. Everybody's journey to Christ has weight to it. I truly believe that. But there's still some people where I think, man, I want to go out there and find them. And I've actually tried to do that, and all attempts had failed. I even got the nerve. I was shaking to go up to somebody's door, and they had moved. Some people I want to ask, but because they're Christian in their behavior and in their love. And I remember them talking about certain things in Islam, how violent and or why can't the Christians be saved? I know this person who's a good man, and then I also watched them as we got older, further into high school, them becoming very hardened to this, saying, well, they're non-believers and segregate themselves. I was also one of the driving forces too that radicalized me, I guess you'd say, is this word Desi. Now, many of you probably don't know what Desi means. It just means countryman, like my countrymen, my nation. And in high school, most of the Muslims I knew were from India or Pakistan. And many of them hung around with Hindus and Sikhs and Jains. And they, oh, Desis. So they would be together. They wouldn't look at the Turks and the Bosnians and the Arabs and the Ethiopians as their people. They wanted to be with the Desis. Their people who spoke the same language. And you're not allowed to be friends with a Hindu. But yet they would all, I mean, it just angered me, the hypocrites. A girl wearing hijab, but would have blue contacts and lipstick and talking with the other Desis. I want to kill that word. I want that word to die. And I usually don't like saying it. I usually just say Aryan or Indo-Aryan or South Asian Caucasian. Kind of rhymes, South Asian Caucasian. No, but yeah, it's very strange. A lot of that has to do with why I didn't want to really address it. If they came across this, I still wonder about that. And I feel horrible the fact that they believe in this thing. And it's actually a good thing that they don't know about a lot of the harder stuff. They haven't read Sahih al-Bukhari, or when they read the Quran, it's just like how I read the Quran when I was young. It's just gibberish. And it's kind of like looking into a crystal ball. You find what you want to find. There's nothing really there. So if you're looking for peace, you'll find peace. If you want to look for war, you'll find war. Fortunately, most of the time when you look for peace, you find war. The thing you have to understand about religious people, this is what kind of pulled me towards atheism for a little bit, is that when you show them violent verses, they don't pull back and say, oh my God, we've got to leave this stuff behind. They say, what am I doing that's disobeying this? This is a hard thing, and I need to deal with it because it was sent by God. So I need to man up and deal with this. Show them violent verses. It doesn't mean the good people don't just say, "Oh, that's it," because they are good people and they want to obey and they want to do the right thing. So then they have to work that in. And I've seen people turn very hostile to these things. Nice people. So if I were to run up to them and say, "Look, I can document all the lies that Muhammad said," first of all, they're gonna just shut down. Say, "Well, wait, who are you to tell me this? You turned on us." I think it might be worse. They might just accept it. You have to realize that about religious people, especially Muslims. You start pointing out violent verses, and they're not going to say, "Oh, well, and I'm leaving this because you're a Christian," or whatever you are. Uh, Once you find something hard in the Bible, something you have to struggle with, do you throw the whole Bible away? Or do you say, "Wait, how do I deal with this? How do I apply this to my life?" Uh, Sometimes I think I should have still worn the boonie hat and the sunglasses and the thing across my face. And yeah, there are death threats, of course. But it's funny, it's the shame that kills me. Am I ashamed of the gospel of Christ? No. Do I feel like I stab people in the back? Yes. Why? Because that's how they feel. That's how they feel. They felt like I stabbed them in the back. And if somebody you love thinks you stabbed them in the back, and you can't go up to them and say, "No, I didn't. I wanted," you're either crazy or you're a liar. That's how it's going to be. So yeah, there is this heavy weight on me, and I have to deal with it. Yeah, I may go to hell for all eternity because of that shame. It's just another cross to bear. If I go to hell, good. I can go down there and teach all the Muslims how to pray. And hopefully I'm wrong and there is universal salvation. Or maybe we can. There is some people who say you can get out of hell before the final judgment. Maybe that's what I'm destined to do. I die and go to hell and teach the Muslims to pray. I miss going to the masjid. I really do. I felt more at home there than I did in the church. It's a very bad thing to say, and I'm never going to say that on this channel again. Peace to all you. This is a very hard topic.